into pulling off these events here at the Alliance Cabin. And, Tia Land and her team, Faith Mahaffey, Billy and Eric, making sure all the technical stuff is right. It's just Jess and Danny doing the social media stuff and recording everything. Jennifer Daniels from eVentures, who just does so much for everybody that no people don't know how much these folks work crazy hours and constantly have to pivot. Mike Tyson says everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Okay, we're just here having fun, having a blast. We're not the ones getting punched in the face. It's those guys working to make this the best experience possible for everybody. They're the ones who are having to pivot and make those changes on the fly, and they do it so seamlessly, and it's just such a blessing. So we thank the Alliance. The Alliance staff for everything that they've done to make this such a special week for us. So, alrighty. So, the title of the call is How a Teacher Rewrote His Life, Their Lives. Two teachers rewrote their lives. It's one of those things, sometimes you have to pinch yourself to think this is how we're living. Just being out here, who lives like this? This is just one of Andy's homes, and he happens to open it up for us to be able to experience it a little bit. Living where we live, the opportunities, driving cars that don't break down because we actually can fix them on a normal basis. If you do your oil changes on a regular basis, it's more likely the car will last longer. One thing I learned, little things, school teachers have a lot of flat tires. You know why? Because they don't replace them until they have to replace them. At least we didn't replace them. So we were always getting flat tires, because we weren't rotating them, and we replace them one at a time. Replace the whole set. What do you mean all four at the same time? That's crazy talk there. And then you go down and you're getting used tires, which somebody else was done with that tire, and now you get to use it. So you go down and you buy some may pop tires, that may pop at any time. And what I found is that, people who have money, and I mean, don't get me wrong, we have not arrived. We are in the process of growing and building our business and building our team. But, oh, okay, thank you. You hold that.
Oh, your mic.
I'm already mic'd. I was double dipping on the microphones. Just little things like regular oil changes and rotating your tires, and when you need new tires, you replace them as a set, and they last a lot longer that way versus one at a time, because that's what we could afford at the time was, just get one tire and keep your fingers crossed. So, it's the little things. It's not necessarily being able to go to Africa for 2.5 weeks, although that was nice as well. Thank you, Andy and Jane Albright. Thank you. And it's just, but it's the little things that you don't think about. I was talking, Carolyn Parsons is here, and she made the comment to me, what a difference it makes. It was like, do we want to check our luggage or not check our luggage? And before, something that might have taken 30 minutes for them to decide, and they had all this angst over, it's like, well, that's $70. And now their attitude is like, it's only $70. That's what this business can do for you. That's what the association can do for you, because you start hearing how other people think. And it's just like, well, that's $70. Oh my gosh, why would we spend $70 checking our luggage? And now it's just like, it's $70. Hey, but if you don't have the $70, then that's a massive decision to make. And so that's one of the things that we wanted to change as school teachers. We wanted to rewrite that part of our lives. So we didn't have to worry about those small little ticky-tack stuff. And I'm not trying to diminish people who are struggling with those things, because Lord knows we struggled with it for a lot longer than we should have with the opportunities we had. But I had to grow up. I had to evolve as a person. So I kept us in a place where we had to struggle longer than we probably should have. But it is what it is. We all have our own stories. We all have our own races to run. And it doesn't matter what somebody else's race is. It only matters, you got to run your race. You got to pay your price. Somebody else's price is going to be different than your price, but that's irrelevant because you got to pay your price. When Andy and Jane came into our lives, so I taught school with Jane Albright, is how they first came onto our radar. I guess I should say Beth and I first came onto their radar. Jane was 8th grade science teacher at Lillington Middle School in Lillington, North Carolina. And I was teaching 7th grade social studies. And Beth was teaching high school Latin and English at Triton High School in Irwin, North Carolina. We had just got married in June. So we graduated in May. This is 1991, if you're wondering how old we are. Graduated college in May of 91. Got married in June of 91. And finally got jobs in July, which is not the order of operations you want to go on starting after your life, I will tell you that. And we got these jobs in Harnett County, and that's a whole story in itself, which maybe another time, how we ended up in Harnett County. But God placed us in Harnett County. It was things, we're all here on such a thin line, such a thin thread. You think about the people who had to come into your life to put you in the position you are today, those of you watching from your offices and from your home and between your appointments in your car. What a thin thread it was, that relationship that got you to being here at the Alliance today. So you're meant to be here. You're supposed to be here. There's a plan for you. And I truly believe that. And so we were, first year marriage, first year teaching, in a new place where we knew nobody. We were looking for friends as much as anything. We realized very quickly that our financial situation was not going to go the way we wanted. With our fresh new 4-year college degrees, the great state of North Carolina valued us at $19,900 gross salary as school teachers. And we had a plan. We were going to live on my salary. Beth and I both were North Carolina teaching fellows, which was a 4-year college scholarship. So we both went through college on full ride scholarships. But it came with the requirement that we had to teach for 4 years in the public schools. It was a new program that was designed to try and get better educated people into the school systems. I'm not going to say we were better people or smarter people, but we had college degrees. We earned a scholarship for it. So we knew Beth had to teach for 4 years. So we were going to bank her salary for the 4 years. And then we were just going to live on my salary. And then after 4 years, she would have met her commitment in terms of the teaching fellows. And we were used to living on just one salary, and we had saved about $80,000 to $100,000 in the bank, by banking her salary. And then she could be a full-time stay-at-home mom, which is what she dreamed of being. I know a lot of people don't dream of being that, and that's okay. You have your dream. We had ours, you have yours. And there's no right or wrong when it comes to your personal dreams. It's what's important to you. And that was important to Beth. She wanted to be able to stay home with our kids. Well, after about 6 months of spending both salaries, banking nothing, and getting deeper in debt, we were like, you know what? This ain't working. So we became really open-minded really quickly, and we were looking for opportunities. My mentor teacher, Anne-Marie Littleton, put me on a list of names for Andy to call. He was text dialing. And he was just calling through a list of names, and he called me up and he said, hey, I know you don't know me, but you know Anne-Marie, and we're expanding some business in the area. Are you open to opportunities to make some additional part-time income? I was like, yeah, what you got? And he came over, took about 15 minutes over the kitchen table, showed us a business opportunity, and then we went to a meeting in Fayetteville, North Carolina the following Tuesday, and our lives have never been the same since. I'd like to say it changed our lives immediately. It did not. But the opportunities changed our lives immediately. And then we grew into the opportunity to be able to take advantage of it. And so we were looking for friends because we knew nobody. We were looking for opportunity. We were looking for money. And that's kind of where we were as school teachers. Beth, why don't you kind of comment on that story and kind of how we got to the point where we wanted to rewrite our lives.
Yeah. So as Andy presented an opportunity to us, we honestly had no clue what it involved. Kind of like when someone brings the Alliance to you and you're like, oh, now I got to get a license. Oh, now I got to pick up the phone and call people. Oh, I need to show them the value of a policy. Oh, I need to 3-foot people. Oh, you don't understand all of that, and that's okay. I think for us, when we sat there in that hot spot and we saw an opportunity, it was a vision. And at that time, it was like, hey, you could make 100,000. And for us, we were like, oh my gosh, how different our life would be. Can you just imagine what it would be like to have that? And then, so we had a dollar figure that we were kind of chasing. And then we saw an Android focused look like what it looks like to live with the attitude that where I am now, what matters is where I'm going. Now, will I do the things that I need to do to get where I'm going? That's the choices that we have to make. Those are the hard choices we have to make sometimes. But we saw that, and it was so attractive. And so we would hang out at Andy and Jane. They would invite us over to their house for pizza and a movie. It wasn't the 5-course Cultiva meal we had, and it was. And I don't remember the Chinese place, and we got a ton of takeout Chinese from there. And we would just we would sit over that, and Andy and Jane are 5 years older than us. Bo, can you imagine what your life is going to be like in 5 years? When you're our age, what you can accomplish. And we're still in that hunt. 5 years from now, how much closer can we be to the lifestyle Andy and Jane have? And what's really cool is they don't stop growing. So where they are, when we match where they are today, they're 5 years further. They will have experienced more. They'll have more to open our eyes to, more opportunity. But it is living with that vision of what can be, and just knowing you can be in the midst of all of your muck, but when you're around that environment that says life doesn't have to stay here, you can live with hope.
Yeah, and then, it's compare and contrast, not to other people. Comparison is the thief of joy. I don't know who said that. I've heard Andy say it. I don't think he made it up, though. That's like an old philosopher. But comparison is the thief of joy, because if you always just look at what other people have, you never appreciate what you have. And you want to dream. But you need to appreciate where you are as well. It's kind of like having kids, and we have grandkids now, and so seeing the grandkids at that stage, I'll be honest with you, I don't remember my kids at 6 weeks old and 3 years old. I don't remember a lot. But watching Michael and Winter, our two grandbabies, our two grandsons, at that age, it's like being able to live it all over again. And that's the beauty of being grandparents. And so we are appreciating every level of age. You're supposed to embrace every age that your kids are. When they're babies, love them as babies. When they're toddlers, even though, terrible twos, love the terrible twos, because they're only two once. And then when they're teenagers, Jill, it's going to go by like that. And so appreciate where you are, but also stay dreaming. Keep dreaming. Keep looking forward. Keep understanding what you can have and expanding your vision. So we lived in an 800 square foot townhouse. That was a whole townhouse. That wasn't just the bedroom or anything. The 800 square foot townhouse. We had bought it for $48,000. Financed it for $48,000. We didn't have that kind of money. And 10 years later, after chasing our tails, we were happy. We were excited. We always believed there was a better future for us. This was well before we got into the financial services industry, long before the Alliance, long before insurance. But we were broke. I'm talking broke. With that $48,000 townhouse, 10 years later had, skyrocketed in value to $48,000. It backed up to a cemetery. Those of you in real estate, does not add to your property value being right next to a cemetery. But we owed $72,000 now on this townhouse with 3 mortgages. That's what school teaching had gotten us. and now we rewrote our life. You know, travel for us was timeshare presentations because they were like $99 for the weekend, and they gave you like $100 of coupons, so you came out of it ahead. And all you had to do was go on a 4-hour tour and say no at the end. That was pretty easy for me. I mean, they say it's 90 minutes. It's every bit of 4 hours. And then you get the rest of the week. And you know, for me, it was just like, no, pull my credit. I dare you. Now give me my coupons. and so I mean, so that's what travel was like for us. That's the house we lived in. We, you know, you talk about checking luggage, not checking luggage, and every decision was agonizing. You know, we spent 45 minutes at Walmart deciding whether to spend an extra $20 on a swing set for the kids, because that $20 was important. And now today, Beth, just kind of contrast our lives today in terms of where we live and the trips we get to take. And I'm not going to ask you to tell the stupid stuff we blow money on, but but we don't worry about $20 anymore, one way or the other.
Right. We get to live with choices now. And I think that is so freeing. So we went from that 800 square foot townhouse to another house to the opportunity to get into my dream house. And so it's a 5,000 square foot house. It's backs up to the creek that feeds into the intercoastal, and we can look from our neighborhood dock and see the beachfront resort that Adam and I spent our wedding night at. And that was just kind of like that cool serendipity moment. Like, okay, this is our house. You know, it's got the features that I wanted. Like, I would go into houses and they'd be really nice, cool houses, and then you looked at the kids' bedrooms and it was like itty bitty. And I was like, I want my kids to actually have room in their room. And so we got that. Emily says she got the smallest of the bedrooms, but but that is still way bigger than her bedroom was previously. And so we had that choice, and then we get to travel. And so thankful to the Alliance for the opportunities. Like, guys, I hope you're chasing after Portugal. Like, are you on track to win that trip? We have some crazy stories from the time we went to Portugal a number of years ago. Like, we can tell you places to eat in Lisbon and places not to eat. But it was like, it's that ability to go in and realize that the world is a lot bigger than your little town. Even if you live in a big city, it's a lot bigger. Like, you need to go out and experience what it's like to walk the streets of Lisbon and see all the colorful tiles. You need to experience what it's like to go out in Fiji and just have, you know, like, just this huge expanse of water that's like this deep, and you can just go in and see every kind of shell and little sea creature and just walk through there. You need to know what the waves are like crashing in Hawaii. You need to know, like, just watching the whales coming out in Cabo. Like those are things we've gotten to experience, thankfully, through the opportunity that the Alliance gives you the opportunity to earn. Like, you know, you get to go out and do something so that you can go out and experience that. So we've traveled the world, and I think, just like, I'm gonna just do this real fast, but 2026 has been crazy for us. You know, we started out.
And it's only March.
And it's
early March.
It's early March. But we, our daughter Sarah gave birth to her second son, Winter. Her and Jacob, and we got to be, like, we wanted to be there, and like, she wanted us in there. And when she thought maybe she was in early labor on New Year's Eve, we were like, all right, let's pack up, let's go. Like we had the opportunity that, had that gone forward, we would have moved quickly. But we got to go down there. We got to stay in a house that's in their neighborhood, but it's not their house. So, you know how your house is good for you, but you add a lot more people in it, it gets a lot tighter, and you know, hormones and things can get on edge and all that. And we're like, no, we want to be there to help, not to create a burden. And so we were able to get a house for almost 2 months that I could stay at. That was my home base. And then when the night had been rough and it's absolutely pouring down rain, and Sarah's going to take Michael to school, she can call me and say, hey, Mama, can you come over here early and be here and take care of Winter so I don't have to take him out in the rain? And so that was choices. But we popped down to Macon, Georgia. We had the baby, all that fun stuff, and then it's NatCon. Now, I think Winter's due date was something like January 21st, which, if you remember, that was right at NatCon. And we've kind of trained our children well. Sarah's like, doctors, this baby has to be born early, a week early, because my parents need to be there. And they made that happen. But we went to Dallas because that's where we needed to be, and came back from that, got some more baby time, and then Andy and Jane graciously invited us to join them for 2 weeks in Africa, and to experience safaris in 2 different countries, first helicopter rides, first hot air balloon rides, like first time having someone do a whole bubble bath for me, like 30 minutes of preparing the tub for me to come out. And they got the champagne and the cheese and grapes and just, like choices. Like, we live life differently. And traveling Albright has always opened our eyes. Traveling Albright style to Africa has whoa. There is way, way more that we can do, way, way more for us to accomplish. And then we get to come here and hang out with our team and grow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a crazy trip, and it started with 4 days in Nigeria, very safe, and the experiences we had in Nigeria, Andy and I, there with Jeremiah, for a few days, and meeting with these dignitaries, at Access, and and the way they treated us, like we were somebody.
Dr. Katz.
Dr. Katz. Andy and I got honorary doctorates in entrepreneurship. Thank you very much. We got a humanitarian award from, a bunch of bishops over there. And I mean, it was just like, who are we? It's cool. It's cool. I recommend it to everybody. And I mean, it was just crazy. And having those experiences, and then the safaris in Cape Town and Schlossberg, and what we did in Africa with Andy and Jane. And like Beth said, there's a big world out there. Africa's a lot bigger than I thought. I mean, you see it on the map and you say, okay. But like flying from Lagos to Nairobi was a 6-hour flight. That's like flying from Wilmington to Los Angeles. And then from Nairobi down to Cape Town was another 6-hour flight. I was like, how big is this place? And just beautiful land, beautiful scenery, beautiful people, and just opportunities that, as broke school teachers, we would have never had the opportunity to have. And what I can tell you is this: you can rewrite your life here as well if you choose to. So thank you, Beth. We're going to get some folks from the cabin up here real quick. We're kind of going to do it rapid fire, but not really rapid fire, because we want to hear what they have to say. Dan and Diana Meerdo. So real quick, Diana, where you're from, tell us about your beautiful family, your children, and how old they are. And then we'll get into kind of where you were when you saw the Alliance, and how you were able to rewrite your life through the Alliance. So Diana, why don't you tell us about your family?
Yeah, I'm originally from Russia, and I've been here for 15 years now, and we've been with the Alliance for 8 years. So this is Dan, my husband, and we joined, like I said, eight years ago. We've been together also about, I think, 15 years now, and have 2 kids, 4 and 10-year-old. And when we joined, I remember my first time. So first Dan got involved in this company, and I joined in probably a couple months, and came to first hotspot. and everybody hugged me, and that was
Not a
weird.
hugger?
That was weird for me, because I was like, I don't know you guys, like, what's going on? And everybody's like, hi, how are you? Like, I'm Adam, I'm Beth, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, okay, guys, like, nice. Like, what am I doing here? Like, I didn't know anything, but and at that time, like, I saw, a great opportunity to make money here and to grow. And I thought that businesses, at that time, we already tried a couple businesses. So I thought that business is, making money, being busy, always like doing something, working hard. But only recently, I figured out that it's like relationships. And I didn't know that. Like this cabin experiences showed me that that's like much more than just money, and much more than fun, or much more than being busy and working all the time. It's like actual people, actual, friendships. And that what grows you. It's not only books, it's not only working, it's, you just look at other people, you're like, oh, that's how it's done. Oh, you're struggling too. I got it. So, I think that's my biggest insight from a cabin experience and from Alliance in general, that we're all people and we're all like need each other. We need that support. We need to know that if somebody is able to do this, I am too. And the support is great. Like, I'm very, very grateful for the support I get here. Especially, like, even from people who don't make any money from me. None. But I still get that. It's amazing. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah, it really is that mindset that first of all, the family atmosphere. And that's where the relaxed nature of the cabin is so cool. Because you go to a hot spot, everybody's dressed up to the nines, wearing their suits, and you come to conventions and we're wearing tuxedos on Saturday night, and it's just like ooh. And but here, we're just wearing our pajama bottoms, and we're wearing our walking around in socks, and nobody's worried. We're just hanging out like a family hangs out on a family vacation, and you don't get that at a lot of places. I wanted that in my life, and I thank God every day that Andy Albright wanted that in his life. He could have chosen to just transact people. He could have chosen to disappear from the scene. He got his. He's going away. But no, he wants the relationships. He wants this to be a family, and he wants us all to live like he and Jane live. So Dan, kind of give us a snippet of where your life was when you first came to our office in Wilmington, what you were looking for, and what you saw in the Alliance that gave you the opportunity to kind of rewrite your life, yours and Diana's life.
Yeah, so she mentioned we had some businesses. The one that we thought was going to be the big one, the one that we thought was going to take us where we wanted to go, was the restaurant business. And the restaurant business, if you're good at it, your profit margin 20%. I mean, you're killing it if you're at 20%. We obviously weren't killing it, so we were 10 or below, right? And just kind of thinking about it while I was sitting here, we're selling pizzas, we're slinging dough. You sell a $10 pizza, 10%, you're making about $1, right? Right. So to make $500, we'd have to sell 500 pizzas. Right. So when I met Adam and Beth Katz, and they said, hey, call these fools, sit with them for 45 minutes, and you make that same money. And it's just, what are we talking about, right? It's funny because we were talking with Andy yesterday, and I was like, yeah, we're doing the pizza business. No one's making money, and he's like, the government was making money. He's not wrong.
Payroll tax,
And so-
inventory taxes.
And so it was really just reflecting on it. 2018, we didn't know this business. We didn't know anything about it. So I have no idea where you and Beth were in 2018. But what attracted us was, in just reflecting on it, you saw the 2026 Katz agency in 2018. You saw where you were going to be. And for us, that's, going from making $1 a pizza to going to Africa for 2 weeks, right? Staying at this cabin. That's where we thought, if we're going to rewrite it. So we didn't rewrite anything. We closed that book and just started a new book.
Going to Thailand in 2 months?
Right?
How many Meerdos have been to Thailand?
You know the answer to that.
Changing family legacies. That's something I wanted to do. I mean, I come from a successful family, doctors and lawyers and cousins who are, but they don't live like we live. They don't live like Andy and Jane live. They have stuff. They have lots of nice stuff, but they don't have the freedom. It's one thing to have them. See, you can have a lot of money, but if you have no time to enjoy it, that's not good. You can have a lot of time. As school teachers, we had a lot of time. I told you, we had no money to enjoy it. That's no good either. But what the Alliance has given us is that opportunity to have the time and the money and to be able to live life on our terms. When New Year's Eve, Sarah calls and says, "I think I'm in labor." And Beth runs to the bedroom and starts throwing clothes into suitcases. And the first thought wasn't, let me check my PTO at job to see if I can, let me send an email to my boss to let him know I'm not going to be coming in next week. Ooh, what if he's mad because it's the first week of the year? And, I didn't have to worry about any of that. I just had to worry about how quickly can we get to Macon, Georgia, and get there for Sarah and Jacob, and for Beth. I like living life like that. So Dan, talk to us for a minute about what is these 3 days at the cabin. You've been to cabin experiences, but this is the first time you were able to come with Diana. So what is the cabin experience? We're changing her name. We're doing it on the fly. We're trying to get it right. For 6 years, I've known her as Diana, and we found out last night she really wants to be called Diana. So. But being here with your wife, as well as with the rest of the team, the rest of the family, talk about maybe how this one was a little different than the last one.
Yeah, I mean, I think as we all go through the ups and downs, we all go through the struggles. It's just, there's a reason that teams are so important. Is when you do it yourself, you get lost. You get lost in your own head. You get lost. It's the environment, right? And it's just, it's where it's the value you bring to us is because you create the environment that we can't create ourselves. And so it's just, and then the winners in this room, like everyone's here for a reason, right? It's not just random people. And just hearing their stories and bonding with them and, getting to meet Anthony and Stella and seeing them as people has been fun. And just knowing that anything we need, we can lean on them, right? And just, the problems that we're going through now, Dalen's been through, Linda's been through. And so just building those relationships and just getting the belief that, the belief comes and goes. It's why we do the conferences all the time, but just always getting that refill, right? So I think coming out of it, it's just, I think the discussions that we're having between each other, experiencing it together, is looking inward to, hey, what have we been doing wrong? What can we fix? What can we change? How can we, the second we leave here, up our game?
Right. Yeah. Make decisions. And look, we make decisions every day. Most people make quantity decisions. Like in the heat of the moment, we decide this is what we're going to do. But when you make that quality decision, that's where your life really changes. So thank you, Dan and Diana. Give them a hand. My buddy James Coleman, if I could get you a brand new junior board member. the newest junior board member of the Alliance.
Adam Katz, my buddy.
James Coleman. So congratulations on the growth of your team, the explosive growth. I know Andy went through your numbers on Wednesday, but for those who weren't listening to the TWC on Wednesday, basically you came to this event a year ago, March.
Yes.
And February of a year ago, you were at?
$38,133. Issue paid business as a team.
As a team. That wasn't personal production.
Team.
You've had bigger months personal production than your
Yes.
whole team did in February of last year.
You ain't had to put it out there. But yeah, jeez. Wow. See what happened when you let them cook?
12 months later, after coming to the cabin event in March of 25, what did your team do?
411,000.
You never had a month of personal production of 411,000, did you?
Heck no.
So, and that's ultimately that's the business piece of what we do. You want to build a business that's so big you can't do it by yourself. That you need a team of people. You need to grow something. You want a business. So what was it? So first of all, and you brought with you Joe Yaden, who new vice president, our first month recognized vice president. Congratulations, Joe.
Good job, Joe.
And our whole team is so appreciative of you and Joe joining us here, honorary members of the Katz team for this week, and embracing us like you did, sharing, allowing my team to pick your brain, for Joe to be so transparent, and to just pour into us. You didn't have to come. You don't have most of your team here. It's just you and Joe. But I asked you, and Andy said, would you? And he rearranged his schedule to be here for us. And I am grateful, deeply grateful that you would pour into us like that. For the people who haven't been to these cabin events, and for the people here as they're getting ready to leave these cabin events, what was it that from last March, because that is unbelievably dramatic growth from 38,000 team production to 411,000 team production. What was it that you changed? What did the cabin do for you that helped you rewrite your life?
Well, first and foremost, it was about making a decision. It was about me understanding that I was laying the Alliance down, right? And I took personal responsibility for that, and I had to change it, right? Not only was I laying the Alliance down, I was laying down the people that believed in me. Mm-hmm. So I had to make a decision on what I was going to do different, right? And I showed you my notes from after I left the cabin, what I put in those notes, and it came to fruition. But what I had to stop and ask myself and be honest with myself, and we talked about it the other day, was where was I at in terms of my work ethic? Was I really working to the capacity in which I should have been working, or know that I could work, or was I fooling myself and thinking that my work ethic on the scale of 1 to 10 was at a 10, knowing that it wasn't, right? The other thing, and we talked about this too, is that I had to change the vision of how I saw myself in regards to if I wanted to grow. And I think a lot of people never take the time to change the vision of how they see themselves, because how you see yourself is how everybody else sees you. And you just got to ask yourself, is that how you want to be viewed? And if not, then you got to change. And the other part was, changing my values, right? Because that's important. A lot of people never go back and reassess any of those things. And I had to take full personal accountability with myself to assess all three of those pieces in my life and say, something's got to change. If it's meant to be, then it's up to me. Right. With the understanding that success has to be rented every single day, and there's a sacrifice that has to be paid. And I was willing to pay that sacrifice, And the question becomes, for everybody else that's out there, what sacrifice are you willing to pay to get what you want? You know, I said this the other day. If you do the same thing your neighbors do, you'll never leave the neighborhood. You gotta be willing to do something different. And I was willing to do that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Coming back to the cabin a year later, and I think you had another cabin event in between the two marches.
Yep.
What changes? Like when I think it was September. Was
Yes,
that? So September, and then was there anything you got out of this week? And again, you were here more to serve our team. I mean, maybe I don't know. I know we tried to take advantage of everything that you've accomplished by you being here. Every time you come to the cabin, every time you're in an environment like this, whether it's an AIT or whether it's the cabin event, you know, obviously the big four conventions, all of that. What have you gotten out of this week that you're going to be able to take home and apply back into your business and pour back into your team? And obviously you had a lot of time with Andy Albright one-on-one as well.
Right, absolutely. I think for me, and Andy talked about it, right? It's that environment piece, right? I think we missed that, right? And it's like, no, you can't miss that. And we say this business is caught, not taught. Right. But you got to be here to get it. Because it's those little conversations that makes all the difference in the world. It's me having a conversation with Andy, and we talking about, y'all hear me talk about getting to 5 million, right? You don't get to 5 million by mistake, right? Now you got to start having conversations and drawing out, what does the infrastructure look like? What do you have to put in place systematically? Because when you go to 5 million, it's about the systems that you have in place and identifying what's scalable. So having those conversations with Andy, you know, got my brain thinking at a whole nother level on how do we get there from system infrastructures and it being scalable, right? And I don't think that, you know, those conversations are had often, right? But when you get the opportunity to sit down with Andy one-on-one, right, and he can pour into you and get your mind turning and churning differently and get you to understand, if we're going to do this, we got to look at this. We got to identify these pieces here.
And it's you know, you talk about the environment. It's different when you're sitting there with a glass of Hennessy and in a very calm, relaxed environment. The guards are down. If you're in front of 1,000 people, 2,000 people talking on stage, you can only say so much because you're trying to connect and relate to 2,000 people. And you're also trying not to offend anybody. I mean, you're going always, if you're talking, you're going to offend somebody. That's just
right.
Welcome to the United States of America. But you know, but one-on-one, you can allow your guard to be down, especially if it's later at night and it's because you're here. You spent the time, the money, the resources to be here. You want that deeper conversation. You want that deeper information so Andy can be more, you know, less guarded in having those conversations as well. And Beth and I can be less guarded in this environment because you did an extra thing to get here. Andy Riddle and his team are coming in next week. Andy Riddle will be less guarded later at night with the people who choose to stay up and get around. You know, Mike and Noel Leventovich, Andy and Angela Riddle, Mike and Noel Leventovich are coming in a couple more weeks. And again, it's the same thing. You know, get around your leaders in these environments and you'll be able to ask those deeper penetrating questions.
You're absolutely right, Adam. Like, I had the opportunity to talk with Anthony and Stella. And here's the thing. We've been on stage twice together for promotions. And the most we ever did was high. That was it. But coming in this environment and being able to have these one-on-one intimate conversations and to get to learn really who they are and how they can also help the James Coleman business and vice versa. To me, you can't put a price tag on that. You cannot. So if you have the opportunity to get to one of these events, get to it. I like the way somebody said the other day, you can't afford not to be here.
Right.
Because how much it's going to change your business only if you apply what it is that you're getting, right? You know, we hit junior board member 2, and I got some people out there, they said they're gonna get at me. You know, one of them in particular, Amanda Maldonado.
Uh-oh. I hear a call out.
It's a call out, baby. It's a call out. Come. You're gonna keep watching my elbows. But come on, baby. Hey, look, I love it. Friendly competition. I love it. You know, but his thing, Andy created an environment where all of us can learn from each other. This is where we have the opportunity to use the buffet. The question is, how come we're not using the buffet with all these great leaders that is amongst us? We see them, let's make it happen. Here you get those intimate conversations with people. You know, I love it.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you being here. All right, that is a great segue. That is a great segue into Anthony and Stella Nwabunike. If you guys would join us up here. Yeah, I heard Linda Goebel. She's a vice president on our team. Keith and Linda Goebel. She said, nobody's coming to save you. That's what James was. You know, if it's up to be, if it's going to be, it's up to me. Nobody's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. You know, I have had a blast hanging out with you guys for the last 3 days. By the way, the next qualified junior board members, Anthony and Stella Nwabunike. They hit recognized in February, and heck, they may be qualified by March 10th as new junior board members. I know what's been submitted on their organization. They have a fast-growing team, and just incredible. But I've never, you know, I've loved getting to just kind of spend time with you in a very casual atmosphere. I've been to their beautiful, what floor do you guys live on? 23rd floor in Houston. They have a massive apartment overlooking the city of downtown Houston. I mean, just gorgeous. They did not have to rewrite their lives. Beth and I, we needed to rewrite our lives. Dan and Diana had to rewrite their lives. James, you heard his story on Wednesday. He had to rewrite his life. If you don't have a garbage can, you know, you probably need to change something. But Anthony and Stella came to us here at the Alliance in a much different position. They were extremely, and I don't even know how successful they've been financially in their lives, but I have a clue. They did not need to get into financial services to pad their bank accounts. Their bank accounts were plenty padded. They saw opportunity to serve other people. They saw opportunity to make a difference in other people's lives. I think, well, don't let me talk about it. So tell us where you guys were before you first got into the financial industry. You had a string of salons, braiding salons, three. So three. How many employees did you have, or did you have independent contractors?
42
Oh, pull
sometimes.
that up.
Depends on so like I have like 20 or more.
20 or more employees.
Yeah, 3 locations in Houston, and we have a big barbing salon in Houston also.
A big what?
A salon, a barber salon.
Oh, barber center as well. Yeah, that is a cool place. They have a little bar set up in there.
Yeah.
So you get the barber and the bar. Yeah. So people can just get a haircut and hang out and have a little drink and drink Hennessy. And so what is it that attracted you first and foremost into the financial services industry? Because we weren't your first opportunity in the industry. And then what was it that got your eye to come join us at the Alliance?
Okay. First, I got my my insurance policy in 2021. So that was when a guy in World Financial Group signed me in. I didn't even know that, they sign you in, they get you policy. So I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I thought for you to get the policy, but when I see the ideas, because I know one day I will retire and I won't be active like I am now. So and I'm not putting anything towards that retirement. So when I saw the opportunity, how the policy will grow, so I jumped into paying $1,000 a month. And everyone like continue to pay it. I said, how long will I pay this? Like maybe 15 years. That's okay. So he talked about me getting licensed. But when I got my license, I was with PHP. So we saw the opportunity and idea of growing. Me and Anthony, he got the license before mine because I was getting real estate license at the same time, insurance license. So it was I failed my first failed my first exam. It's okay,
Yeah, thank you.
sir. When I got my license, I was with PHP. We did it in like 3 months. We recruited 59 people that they requested. We wrote a policy of $100,000 in that because that within the 3 months you become managing director.
To be clear, that's target premium, not
Target-
face amount. A lot of folks, they hear
Yeah,
$100,000
yeah.
policy, they're thinking, okay, so
Oh,
it's only
so
about
we
$100,000
did
death
that.
benefit. No. That was the premium that their clients were paying.
So we did that. We put in 120,000 because that was the requirement. So, but where we got shocked up is getting licensed agent. Then, because to get them, they have to pay 200 to come in. It was a struggle, so we kind of struggle with that. We even pay people to go get, work harder, pay for their license and all that, but it didn't work out. So in that process, I was just so tired of, because you're looking at time ticking. So when my wonderful upline Emily gave me a call, so before coming, I already know what I'm looking for. So when I started with Emily, I asked questions about how do you come in. When she said free, that kind of got me. I mean, like free to join. She said, yeah, free. So everything she said was what I was looking for. So the next meeting we had, I have 10 people there, and that not from the PHP though, because I didn't take anybody from there. So I had 10 people signing. I guess I was so happy, seeing something that will grow, that will help me grow, get to where I want to be. So I started with Emily, but something happened. Another guy called me, giving me better level, contract level. So they scheduled an appointment. But what happened? That's why I know that God wanted us to be here. Because he almost got me to, after I signed up with you. But do you know what happened? When they scheduled a Zoom meeting with me and Anthony, they had another agent they're trying to recruit. They got into fighting. I don't understand. They were fighting because I think the lady did not like the way they treated her or something. So they were arguing, and we kind of got out of the Zoom, and they kept reaching out to us till today. He hated that girl.
Cost him a lot.
Like they have anything with that. That lady called me like, I didn't tell you anything, but the guy was still mad because so they lost us. God, that means we meant to be here.
Right.
And since we've been here, the support is awesome. And me being here, honestly, is just addition to what I'm about to do because I get to see everyone, connect with everyone. I'm not scared to have agents struggling in a city. I know that James, and so we can help each other. We work as a team because I believe that we'll do much better.
Excellent. All right, Beth. Anthony. Tell us a little bit about your business background, things you've done in Nigeria, as well as your business that you've done here in the United States. And after you kind of give us a background on kind of where it was and the success that you've already had, what was it? Tell everybody about that first conversation when Emily was talking to Stella and kind of your mindset on the alliance, talking to you guys, and all of that.
Okay, thank you very much. My brother, let me say this. I never knew that things like this happen in America. I lived my life all through in Nigeria, but my family is living here. Most of my children were born here. But I am a very, very, very serious business-minded person. And I'm into oil and gas in Nigeria, and I'm into what we call logistics here, but what we call it in Nigeria is freight forwarding. Nigeria is freight forwarding.
Okay.
I was the president of Nigerian Freight Forwarders, the whole Nigerian Freight Forwarders for 8 years. And I was given that by the government. That means I was controlling over 50,000 freight forwarders in Nigeria for 8 years as the president. And I put in almost 35 years of my life into that business. So it's a business I actually went through stress, went through money, because there's small money there too. Then I have other business called Nipet Energy. Nipet Energy is oil and gas downstream, supplies of oils and sales of oil. So we branched into Angola recently. So when I was 60 years old, I said to my wife, oh man, I'm going to come back to America to rest because I'm retired. And that was 2022. Coming down to America to retire, to rest. When I mean resting is to get myself situated and relax my brain, because my brain has been so hot. My wife Stella started telling me about insurance. And let me tell you people sincere truth. Insurance, the way it's done in Nigeria is not the way we are doing it here.
Right.
In Nigeria, we don't regard insurance because when you get claimed, they don't pay you often. Most importantly, they will discourage you for payments. So many people do not want to be using insurance. Rather, you can put a cover just for police sake or for any other government agencies that may harass you. So when she came to tell me about this insurance, I told her, please, can you allow me to rest my brain? But, you know, Stella is a very quiet person. She said, okay. But each time, she's always on phone with people. And one thing, she showed me exactly what she has actually gotten, paying $1,000 every month as a premium. And I saw her insurance cover,
Cash value.
and I said, are you sure this thing is working here? He said, yes. Okay. So he said, can we go ahead and do it? Because the other guy was giving him so much trouble. He had already registered her. That was how I said, okay, let me take an exam. Took my first exam and I got it. Then she was doing her exams on real estate. So I got my first exams, registered with Pearson View, got my exam and passed the exam, and we now went into people helping people, PHP. In that PHP, one thing they have not really taught us is how to teach very properly, but they know how to recruit people. You know, every company has its own possible ways of doing their things. If you see people from the other side, WFG, they teach a lot. But if you see people from PHP, they recruit a lot. But do you know what I have discovered when we came here? Before I speak about our upliner. The day we were about to get it a quit in PHP because so much frustration, so much. If you see me that time, I was almost black because they give you so much stress. Anyway, to cut the long story short, we got Emily online. And I told Emily, I don't want to hear all these things. Please, can you people go? And she was a little bit scared because she has never had anybody speaking to her like this. I said, please, I don't want any insurance anymore. I've gotten my hands burnt on PHP. Anyway, coming here is an experience. When I came in here, first thing came into my heart. So this is America. When I came in here, I remembered my village. It's just like a total different thing altogether in my life. But get the good news. The good news about the people we met. When I see Linda Global in a convention, I always get scared. I don't talk to her. When I say scared, you know, they're always on the stage. I'm always watching them from the conference. So when I see somebody like Don, yesterday when we were talking, he gave me his name. I said, "Oh, is that you?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Wow." The good news is that Matt, look at Matt. I will tell you what happened with me and Matt. We went hunting, and we were doing video while we were coming on the car like this. What's that name of the car? The hunting car. So I was excited. And the good news is that everybody that failed to come here, let me tell you, we regret it.
Yeah.
And I keep wondering why you have never invited us here before. Sincerely, I will not miss any other call to this camp.
That's awesome.
This is an eye-opener.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's an honor to work with you, and the team that you've developed and continue to develop has just been, you know, I always say this, God's hand has been on our business, and it's because you guys joined our business. And to hear that story about them getting in a fight on a Zoom call is what locked you into us. So, all right, guys, I wish I could bring up everybody that's been at the cabin this week, but we are out of time. Thank you, Alliance Nation. Thank you, Andy, for allowing us to host today's call. Again, thank you, Alliance Corporate, for coordinating everything and allowing us to be able to do this. Guys, go out there and kill it, win the day, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon on the trail. Take care.